I went to dinner with my buddies around Christmas like I do every year. And I got home, and my wife said, "How was it?" And I was like, "It was great." She said, "How's Phil? How's his marriage?" I was like, I don't know. I have no idea. And she's like, "Well, don't you talk about that when you're together?" I was like, "No. What do you talk about?" "I don't know. We tell our crazy stories from when we were growing up." "What do you talk about?" She's like, "Well, we do that too, but we talk about life things." Anyway, every group's different. But what I know is that people love crazy stories, right? And I think that we have an opportunity in business to tell these crazy stories. I want you to watch one that we captured recently, and then we're going to talk about why they're effective.
All I've been trying to do for 7 years is try to get something to go viral. It's never happened. And then, of course, our support team handles something in the wrong way, and that goes viral.
I got into the office on June 20th, 2017, no different than any other day, and one of my colleagues grabs me and says, "We have a PR nightmare."
We have an interactive seating chart map, and it allows for someone to click on their state, and then they can see the events in their area.
An apology is underway right now after a company forgot about the Upper Peninsula.
And our map at that time did not have the Upper Peninsula of Michigan included.
Kyla Mae Vasso sent them a Facebook message to let them know about it, and their response, "Kyla, we got the important part of Michigan. Isn't that good enough?" What?
She obviously was furious. She then takes that and posts it publicly.
This gentleman then doubled down and responded again.
"Sorry, it's an honest mistake, but isn't it just a bunch of forest?"
Well, as you can imagine, Youpers were not happy.
Tick pick. Man, did you guys totally mess that up?
So we went from a 4.4 rating on Facebook to a 1.6 overnight, literally.
So after I found out about the catastrophe, I had my own idea of 5 to 6 things that we could do to make it right.
And so I quickly crafted up a letter.
But Amber Johnson from the Upper Peninsula had a much better idea.
Great job handling the situation. I'll be deleting my review, but I'd leave a 5-star review if Brett were to post a video wearing a Stormy Cromer, drinking a beer from Black Rock's Brewery, and eating a pasty from Lawry's Pasty Shop. Hashtag just saying.
This is where Facebook is great also, because you could see what people are responding to. By the time I had seen that, it already had 50 likes.
Let me call my boss and see if it's okay. So I called my wife.
I think she was 35 weeks pregnant.
Timing was of the utmost importance, so I needed to make it there that night. And if I did not make it there that night, I might as well not go. And so there was one last flight that I saw from JFK to Detroit to then Escanaba.
I ran through the airport in JFK. Of course, it's the furthest terminal.
The furthest gate.
We're going to Black Rock Brewery, and we're going to pick up the tab and want to apologize to everyone, and we'll see what happens.
While I'm on that plane, I'm looking at these reviews, and I see, geez, these people are really mad. Some of these people are threatening me. I said, can we get some security just in case?
And luckily, when they're talking to the security that they hired, the guy's like, "I'll just pick him up from the airport." And so I get on my connecting flight, get to Escanaba, and I land. And one of the first things they say to me is "What were you planning on doing when you got here, by the way? Because there's no car rentals here. There's not even taxis."
I got to the bar, and there was about 500 people, and there was 3 to 4 news crews there waiting.
I took a breath, and I vividly remember Jim, I believe is the security guard's name, him opening up his armrest, taking out his gun and putting it in his pocket. I'm like, okay, all right. and he was very serious. He also didn't know what was going to happen. And when we got out, we were very warmly welcomed.
I put the credit card down so everyone knew that their drinks were free and really believed me. That was the first thing I did. And then I found Kyla, who was the first person that reached out to us. She was actually apologetic to me. She's like, "I can't believe this kind of turned into this."
This is a lot better than what I was expecting. I was very nervous coming here. I had a great night there. It was an incredible night, to be honest.
How big do you estimate this tab will be?
You see our tab here, there was over 1,000 drinks that were paid for. And it didn't end there. Amber, whose idea was of the road trip that I followed, she said, "This is horrible. You still have a 2.2 Facebook rating." She said, "You should do a Youper blooper giveaway. And if people change their 1-star review to a 5-star, then you're going to give them access to 5 different giveaways, and they'll all be Upper Peninsula Yooper themed.
And the response was absolutely incredible. Within 1 day, we got back to about a 4.0, and within 2 days, we were at 4.3. So thank you, Amber, and thank you to the Upper Peninsula in helping us kind of turn the story around and giving us a chance to make it right and forgiving us. Looking back, I mean, the lessons to me are pretty clear from a management perspective. It's taking responsibility. And then 2, it's the real-time nature. None of this would have been successful if it wasn't real-time.
The next time a problem happens, I'm sure many of you do it, get on that plane.
And then maybe my greatest learning here is don't mess with Yoopers.
I'm Brett Goldberg.
Hey, is the Upper Peninsula on your map today?
Yes, the Upper Peninsula is on our map today.
So an extreme situation, I realize. I hope you've never made the news for treating people poorly. But I do think that there's tremendous power in stories like this because they're universal. I talked about how important it is to make your brand video. I fully believe that. Here's the truth. Aside from a situation like ours where we got really fortunate and found our way into a contest, most people will only find your brand video if they seek out your brand or your industry. People love crazy stories. They love interesting stories. They love stories about real people doing things that are interesting, right? And so with TickPick, did I bust this thing? No. I only dropped it on the ground. No, I got it. Sorry, man. I'll buy you a new one. This thing got posted, and you see it has 600,000 views, right? What are 600,000 views worth to your company? And again, it's extreme, right? But take it down. Say you get 10% of that. You tell yourself you tell a great story, you tell your best story. If you get 60,000 views, that'd be pretty solid, right? That's great exposure. Here's the kick in the butt for TickPick. They hired Ric Flair to do a video about 3 months before us. Look at the views. They got less, right? They had him come in just screaming, woo, woo. I think they paid him hundreds of thousands of dollars and got a big time production done. Less. It got less traction. And why? Because it was just a commercial and we told a story. And there's an opportunity when you tell a great story that people have no interest in ever supporting your brand or doing business with you. They're going to love your story and they're going to pass it on. These are the people that are on their computers at nighttime, right? So think about it. If you have any great stories, if your people have great stories, those are worth sharing. Does anybody have a great business story, by the way? Something that's interesting? No? Nobody? See me afterwards if you do. Think really hard about that. We had a company that produces shutters that told us one time Robert De Niro called because he needed these custom shutters done. And it created this chain of events throughout their company where people were trying to please Robert De Niro. Really interesting. Like, I think you should tell that. ESPN's doing all these really short videos now. Carlos Booza, that used to play basketball, tells a story about one time he rented his house to Prince. I don't think they have to be that high profile. They can only be 60 seconds. But I think we need to share our stories, right? Share stories externally.